Sentencing for a number of offenses varies based on county in Missouri. When it comes to marijuana charges specifically, those variations can be even more pronounced. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
I'm Landon Berg. Our Target 8 team looked into those variations and what contributes to them. Our chief investigator, Jamie Gray, joins us with the team's latest project.
We looked specifically into marijuana-related offenses in Missouri and if different people face stricter penalties for the same crime. What we found out? It might all depend on where you live. KOMU8's Jacob Kornhauser is live in Jefferson City at the Capitol to explain why those in urban and rural areas might face completely different sentences for similar marijuana crimes.
Tomorrow, 5 states will vote on whether to legalize recreational marijuana use, but Missouri will not be one of them. In the Show Me State, it all comes down to one statute, which can drastically change what sentence you get. So we looked into that statute and saw exactly what type of changes that has on sentencing across the state.
Oh, I just asked him straight up, so I'm going to have to serve 12 years in the Department of Corrections. And he told me, his words verbatim, well, yeah, that's exactly what your buddy's got.
In July, a judge sentenced Delmer Thompson to 12 years in prison for selling less than a quarter ounce of marijuana on 4 separate occasions. Offenders doing what he did face a Class B felony and 60% serve probation. He was charged with a Class A felony because of where he was.
They are creating a horrible disparity in the sentencing of people who are charged with an offense in an urban area, even a small town, versus outside of town.
Thompson was within 2,000 feet of a school, a college in his case, something that bumps a Class B felony to a Class A felony in Missouri. The rule traces back to the 1980s and is something the prosecutor in Saline County, where Thompson was charged, sees as problematic.
We had the war against crime, but when those statutes were passed, I think everybody pretty much understood that there had to be a different way to fight illegal narcotics.
But Stouffer said he still uses the law to protect people who can be harmed by drugs.
If you're dealing even marijuana on a college campus, I worry about all the people that drop out of school because they were more interested in pot than they were getting grades.
Thompson isn't even the most susceptible to Missouri's drug laws. We're currently in a school zone, meaning we'd have to go 2,000 feet away to get out of it. We've brought this tape measure to show you just how hard that is for an urban area. In an urban population, almost never are you more than 2,000 feet from a school zone. So while many urban areas are here in a school zone, many very rural areas are here outside of a school zone where what Delmer Thompson did would be a Class B felony. You can see just how many private and public schools there are in Missouri. And in an urban area like St. Louis, what happens when you draw a 2,000-foot circle around each of them. According to an ACLU report, black people are nearly 4 times more likely to be arrested on marijuana charges despite roughly equal usage. They also serve a larger percentage of their sentences than their white counterparts.
I've seen judges and prosecutors compete with each other to see who can be meaner, who can be tougher in the parlance, which means who will be crazy enough to inflict the longer sentence.
They had drugs, not just marijuana, but drugs, things that could harm people and things that people could overdose from and die. 6 years, 45%. So I'm like, he got 6, he had pounds of that, and that's it. Oh, I'm cool. I know I'm gonna get probation. And I got 12 years.
Interestingly, based on a provision made to that statute, which will be active on January 1st, the amount of a felony B conviction for marijuana use, or marijuana sales rather, will go from 5 to 35 grams, meaning that Delmer Thompson's counts would have been Class B rather than Class A. However, the 2,000-foot rule will remain the same under that revised statute, so the urban and rural disparity between sentencing will probably remain as well. Reporting live from the Capitol, Jacob Kornhauser, KOMU8 News.
Jacob, thank you. Tomorrow, Missourians may want to get to the polls early because it looks like things are going to be busy. Overall, there has been an increase in voter turnout this year. In mid-Missouri, counties expect an even higher turnout than in 2008 when Barack Obama was first elected. Many believe the increase is the result of lots of media coverage on the election. Cole County expects a voter turnout of 75%.
In 2008, we had a 74% turnout. In 2012, we had a 70% turnout. So we kind of base our turnout on that.
Columbia Public Schools will not be in session tomorrow because of Election Day. Both Missouri Democratic and Republican candidates held rallies earlier today in a last-ditch effort to reach voters before they head to the polls. The Democratic Party held a rally off of West Broadway in Columbia this morning. Gubernatorial candidate Chris Koster made a quick appearance. He said he knows the race is going to be close, and he encouraged everyone to vote. Koster said he believes his campaign reflects his heart and goals for the state of Missouri.
The coalition that has come behind my effort for governor is the broadest coalition that has ever come behind a governor's effort in the last 50 years. We've got Missouri Farm Bureau, National Rifle Association, the entirety of the agricultural sector. These are groups that have made a choice that the Democratic candidate for governor, Chris Koster, is best prepared to lead this state forward.
The Democratic Party will have a watch party tomorrow evening at the Blue Note downtown.
Republican candidates also spent the day trying to appeal to voters for the last time. Gubernatorial candidate Eric Greitens spoke in Columbia this morning. Other candidates in attendance were Mike Parson, Jay Ashcroft, Eric Schmidt, and Josh Hawley. Greitens finished off the rally in Columbia by telling the crowd he believes momentum is on his side leading into the election tomorrow. He said people are tired of corrupt politicians.
The choice is so clear. If you like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Chris Koster's crooked career politician ways, you can vote for him. But if you're ready to take the state in a new direction, our mission's more jobs and higher pay, safer streets and better schools for the people of Missouri. And Sheen and I are.
The last Republican rally stop was St. Louis. There will be a Republican election watch party tomorrow in Columbia at 7 p.m. at the Holiday Inn Executive Center. We invite you to stay tuned to KOMU 8 News all day tomorrow. We'll have a whopping 17 reporters on the ground bringing you the local and state races that matter to you most. We also have a comprehensive digital team bringing you results online. No other station in town can bring you the kind of coverage we can. So stay tuned. KOMU 8 News all day tomorrow for Smart Decision 2016. This afternoon, 5 people were given a misdemeanor citation for taking campaign signs from private property. The signs were in support of Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. The incident happened on Rock Quarry and Grindstone Parkway. The Columbia Police Department says it got a call after the Trump-Pence signs were taken from someone's yard. Some words were exchanged there, but no one was arrested. Lots of clouds in the sky today. Let's send it over to Kenton to take a look at our Election Day forecast.
Brittany, thank you very much and good evening, everyone. Looking at live.the First Alert radar, just a few very scattered to isolated showers out there at this point. Most of our rainfall is pushed over to the west over here in Saline and Pettis counties, where there is just some light rainfall. Some moderate rain, though, is moving in here in just a couple hours. Looking at temperatures, 58 in Mexico, 60 in Columbia, 59 in Boonville, and 58 in Versailles. Winds almost non-existent for some of us. It's going to be a very calm night for us with those winds. And even as the rain moves through and a cold front tomorrow, we're not expecting much wind. Otherwise, 56 here by 2 a.m. We are going to see those showers becoming more widespread overnight tonight and even throughout tomorrow morning. So if you want to go to the election or to vote here tomorrow morning, could have some rain out there, but you could also have some shorter lines because of that as well. So a bit of a caveat. Otherwise, 62 for that high temperature in the afternoon. Then a lot of sunshine headed into Wednesday with 58 degrees. I'll check tomorrow's rainfall hour by hour and look ahead at our next 8 days coming up later in the show.
All right, Kenton, thank you. Missouri is no longer a battleground state. We'll tell you what that means for voters.
For almost a century, if you wanted to see who would win the presidential election, all you had to do was look at who Missouri was voting for. But over the past few elections, that has changed. KOMU 8's Zach Gropey tells us how that change came about.
We've all seen them, the commercials, flyers, and signs all saying who we should vote for in the coming election. However, Missouri voters might be seeing less on the presidential side because of how national politics in Missouri have changed over the last decade.
People in rural Missouri essentially evolved over a generation or so from a strong Democratic affiliation to a pretty strong Republican affiliation, and they voted that way presidentially.
Not long ago, Missouri was a key battleground state for any presidential race, but now those changes have removed that title.
There's a substantially smaller proportion of minority people in Missouri than nationwide. So Missouri doesn't look like the rest of the country nearly so much as it did 20 or 30 years ago.
Starting in 1904, Missourians voted for the winner in every single presidential election except for 1 year. Then in 2008 and 2012, that trend changed when they voted for the loser in those 2 elections. And now as Missourians head to the poll here at local schools and libraries, it looks like that trend might continue. For the 2016 presidential race, the most recent election polls show Clinton winning overall, but polls also show Trump winning in Missouri. One man thinks Democratic stances on abortion rights, Second Amendment laws, and other policies have swayed voters to go Republican in recent elections.
As a whole, Missourians don't agree with the national Democrats on many of their platform issues, especially in terms of economics with taxes, wanting to raise taxes.
However, even with Missouri leading Republican in the national race, don't expect turnout to drop by a large number.
I think turnout in Missouri is going to be, nationally it may not be as high as it has been the last couple of elections, but I think there's a chance that it'll be pretty good in Missouri. And that'll be because, not necessarily because of the presidential race, but Senate and governor.
Missouri may no longer be a battleground state nationally, but state elections are still very tight. Zach Ropey, KMU8 News, Columbia.
Smith also says another reason for the change is due to the decline of labor unions in the state, especially unions in manufacturing outside the bigger cities.
An intersection that has seen several crashes within the past few years could see some improvements.
Plus, Jefferson City Parks and Rec is finding a way to deal with ice rink flooding.
Welcome back to KOMU News at 10 o'clock. Here's the time lapse for our day today over the Missouri River at Roseport. We had quite a bit of cloud cover as we headed, especially into the afternoon. Started with some sunshine this morning, as was expected. Some light showers rolling through as well, just some drizzle every now and then, a sprinkle here or there, and then, of course, a light shower here, especially up around Macon and Moberly did see a brief shower, but otherwise a lot of us were certainly on the more dry side today, or drier side today. But temperatures in the past 24 hours have been a bit warmer for the state of Missouri, about 14 degrees warmer actually in St. Louis versus this time last night. That's because we had a lot of cloud cover again throughout our day, and that helped to keep a lot of our temperatures right down here at the surface, and it didn't allow a lot of heat to escape into our atmosphere. So 64 still in St. Louis, 10 degree difference though with 54 in Kansas City, and you can see right where our cold front is, it's 40 degrees over in North Platte, Nebraska. Otherwise, back home a little bit closer, we're at 60 degrees in Columbia, 61 at Jeff City, 59 at Lake of the Ozarks, 58 at Versailles. Winds very calm at this point, between about 0 to 5 to right around 6 miles an hour here. And looking at the past 12 hours, again, just a brief sprinkle earlier today. Otherwise, we have some more light to moderate rainfall moving in at this point, all from the west, and that will continue to spread through. You can see Saline and Pettis counties already seeing a lot of that rainfall. And again, this is all associated with just a lot of moisture moving in from the Gulf of Mexico, but we also have this cold front that's going to push all this unstable air out of the way as well, and the moisture. And then we have a lot of dry air, high pressure, stable atmosphere moving in behind it, which will dominate our region for the end of this week and for the weekend as well. Looking at our weathercast, so hour by hour, by 6 a.m., you can still see a lot of this shower activity throughout mid-Missouri. Mainly it is just light rainfall. A few pockets of moderate rain is going to be possible, but overall, just light rain and sprinkles are going to be expected. And again, Tim will be tracking all this tomorrow morning with weather on the 8th. Then by 9 a.m., a lot of it starts to move farther to the south, and a lot of it's south of I-70 after the noon time period. By 2 p.m., could still see a brief shower here for our southern region, but then we're seeing sunshine already for our northern region as this cold front pushes through. Again, that high pressure really moving in and kicking all the cloud cover and the moisture down to the south, and that will again be our dominating factor for the rest of this week heading into Wednesday through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Otherwise, how much more rainfall are we looking at on top of what we've already seen, which is, again, pretty much nothing at this point? Well, we could see about 1/4 of an inch here, but again, areas that are already seeing some moderate rainfall could see a little bit closer to 1/2 an inch, maybe even 3/4 of an inch, but likely most of us will say more to that quarter of an inch factor. Otherwise, 53 degrees, try low temperature tonight by sunrise tomorrow morning. High temperatures tomorrow afternoon are in the lower 60s, but some areas will see cloud cover more, so to the south could only reach the upper 50s. So there's going to be a disagreement in those temperatures based on who sees more sunshine, which will be to the north. 58 degrees on Wednesday, 62 on Thursday. Heading into the weekend, we're remaining in the middle 50s on Saturday for the Mizzou game, 60 then on Sunday, and middle 60s to start next week on Monday. So tomorrow, with polling locations and going out to vote, the morning you're going to see some more rainfall, but you might also see shorter lines because of that as well.
Sure.
So kind of got to pick your time.
All right, Ken, thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
After flooding at the ice rink in Jefferson City earlier this year, the city's Parks and Rec Department's making a plan to prevent it from happening again.
And a proposed update to an intersection in Columbia. Find out what it has to do with a nationwide company. But before we go, here's a look at your lottery numbers. Good luck, everyone.
Tonight, the Columbia City Council motioned to continue plans to renovate the intersection of Waco and Paris roads. Kraft Foods proposed the idea because of its upcoming expansion, and other companies in the area support the addition of traffic lights and updated driveways. The project would cost an estimated $221,000 to complete and then $3,000 yearly. A roundabout was also considered for the intersection, but Public Works determined it would cost nearly $1 million to build.
Mid-Missouri's only ice rink's flooding problems could be over. At tonight's City Council meeting, the council passed a measure for flood prevention services presented by Parks and Rec. In early August, the arena experienced its first major flood. 5 weeks later, and after it just reopened, a second flood hit the arena. Parks and Rec asked for about $320,000. The department says it hopes to do more than just sort out damage costs.
We're just seeking to be whole again, and we're close. We're about 80% back to the way we was before the first flood. It's probably a good another 3 or 4 weeks, I would say, and we should wrap everything up.
Parks and Rec also plans to keep the arena open year-long, while it's traditionally closed during the summer months. She had 22 last game. Find out how many she got tonight as women's basketball took on Truman State.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
Hi everyone. Losing has become an all too common theme for the Missouri football team. The Tigers have shown signs of improvement at times on both sides of the ball, but have not been able to put it together. A 5-game losing streak for Mizzou. Perhaps some motivation when fans were throwing objects at Tiger quarterback Drew Lock, but still not enough for the Tigers to come through at South Carolina. Now Missouri's bowl chances are gone, but the team still has to play 3 games. Coach Barry Odom knows he needs to deliver.
Anytime you've invested something that you care deeply about, you want to be successful. You want to have success. And success is measured in a lot of different ways in college sports. I'm judged on wins and losses. That's it. I understand that.
If anything, I think it drives us. We're starving. We say it every day. We're starving. We're hungry. We got to eat, and we're a bunch of dogs, and we have to eat. And it's getting to that point where the savage is going to come out of us, and we're going to have to do something about it.
Missouri's final road game will be at 2:30 on Saturday, November 19th at Tennessee. That game to be shown on CBS. Mizzou 3-1 against the Volunteers since joining the SEC. The Tigers look to get that first conference win of the season, and Tennessee has struggled recently with 3 losses in its last 4 games, yet the Vols are still 6-3 for the season. After an early exit in the SEC tournament last week, the Mizzou soccer team could do nothing but wait. But hours ago, earlier today, they watched the NCAA tournament selection show and found out their season would continue. The Tigers learned they will play the Kansas Jayhawks at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon in Lawrence. It's the second time in 3 years the teams will open up NCAA tournament play against one another. The Tigers beat Kansas 3-1 in 2014. Missouri volleyball fans have been waiting to hear it, and finally the news came. The Tigers are ranked among the nation's top 25. The American Volleyball Coaches Association ranked Mizzou 21st in the country. Mizzou knocked off number 18 Kentucky and Tennessee last week. The last time the Tigers made the poll back on November 30th of 2015 when Mizzou earned a number 25 ranking. Missouri 21-4 this season, 12-1 in the SEC with 5 matches left. They visit South Carolina on Sunday. The Missouri women's basketball team played its second and final exhibition game tonight against Truman State. Jordan Frericks and Bree Porter both out for the season before the first regular season begins, and a few scary moments. Coach Pincham must hold her breath every time a player goes down. Sophie Cunningham's slow to get up after a fall, but she would. Then Sierra Porter goes down, and she would only play 8 minutes in this game. Sophie Cunningham, though, at it tonight, scoring 22 points with 9 rebounds. Nice ball movement here. This is what the team does. Leanna Doty had a big night, came off the bench, had 13 rebounds, 8 points, played a lot of minutes. And look at Cunningham, the strong drive to the bucket and the foul. No trouble for Missouri with Truman State 87-53. Tigers start regular season play Friday night against Abilene Christian over at Mizzou Arena. Well, the Columbia College women's soccer team is a powerhouse this season. In fact, the Cougars have not given up a goal since September 28th. During that time, the Cougars have outscored their opposition 45-0. Columbia back in action tonight, hosting Missouri Baptist in the American Midwest Conference tourney semifinals. 20th minute, Caitlin Palmer crosses to Tiffany Weaver, who slides it into the far side netting, and the Cougars had a 1-0 lead. Moments later, another chance. Lori Frew's header, though, is stopped. What a terrific play by the defender on the goal line, and then the save by the keeper as Katie Cook is denied. Missouri Baptist tried to get things going, but Columbia College up to the task. The Cougars dominated this match. They had 27 shots on goal. Just got the 1 goal, as you see some near misses there for the Cougars, but Columbia wins it 1-0 and advances to the finals of the conference tourney to visit Park Thursday night. Former Mizzou star Max Scherzer won the American League Cy Young Award a few years ago with the Detroit Tigers. Now he has a chance to win the Cy Young Award in the National League. Scherzer is one of 3 finalists for the NL Cy Young, along with a pair of Chicago Cubs, John Lester and Kyle Hendricks. Scherzer won 20 games this season for the Washington Nationals with a 2.96 earned run average. He struck out 284 batters. That's sports.
Here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News today. While many people will be focusing on ballot issues tomorrow, the MUJ school will be paying attention to problems voters are facing at the polls.
Find out how students are working with news organizations in multiple states to cover the issues.
And could have some rain out there tomorrow morning as well. We're already seeing that move in here with some light to moderate rainfall here already for areas west of Highway 63. Actually, Pettis and Saline counties right now seeing their county completely covered in rainfall. Otherwise, 53 by sunrise, 62 though by tomorrow afternoon, and the rain will push off to the south throughout the day tomorrow. 58 on Wednesday with a lot of sunshine for the remainder of this week and throughout the weekend. High temperatures anywhere from the middle 50s to the lower 60s, feeling much more like fall.
I was going to say, I can't believe Election Day is finally here. Feels like we've been building up to it forever.